Hey, welcome to another Raid Shadow Legends video. I'm Wood. In this series we're comparing two accounts that I started at the same time on the same day, and I'm playing the same way with one major difference. One account is free to play, the other has a monthly spending budget of $50. It's day 68. Let's check our progress. Hey, thank you for joining me. I hope you had a great weekend. If you had a weekend. If you didn't, I'm sorry that you didn't have a weekend. So on the free-to-play here, we have a green border around the free-to-play account. We will also, so today I'm just going to show a couple of different things, but on the budget account, there's no border, and on my main account, there's a red border. I'm just going to show you something real quick on the main account today. But yeah, I was all excited. There were a lot of events this weekend dealing with the fusion, and I did pretty well on the events. It was, it was kind of a grind. But we still have artifact enhancement that we're working on, and so you can see here where I'm at on the free to play. Yeah, so we got a little ways to go on the free to play, and that's just going to take some time. The way I do it, I try and do it that efficiency method of trying to upgrade as many artifacts as possible and save as much silver as we can. And it takes quite a bit of time. There's a lot of counting and going in and out of airplane mode and everything. So I do have a video on that. I know there's other videos about it too. It wasn't my idea, but I just showed the way I do it on one of my videos. So you can go and check that out if you want to. But there's that going on. And I thought that was all we were going to have to deal with today. And so I was kind of excited to have a little bit of a chill day, because after the champ training event, and I was able to get done with the champ training on both accounts, both the free to play and the budget, but it was a little tough, and once I get to the fragments on those training events, it's really difficult for me to stop and not go on to get the legendary skill tome. And so I kept going, and I did that. And it was quite a bit of energy, but we made some good progress on the account, and I don't think it hurt us too much as far as progress on the ice golem tournament on the free to play. I don't know if it's pretty dim back there, but you can see we finished 4th on the free to play account, and so got some good rewards out of that. Some 4 pieces of relentless gear and everything. We got the epic book out of that one, and then over here on the budget account, I'll show you. Yeah, can you see there on the budget account here, we got same place. We got 4th place on both of our ice golem tournaments. Just thought it was kind of a weird coincidence. The points that we put up were almost the same, because we just went to the epic book, and it just turned out that way. It wasn't, there wasn't anything special about it. I just thought it was a weird coincidence. So I thought I'd throw that in there today. But yeah, we're working on the Fire Knight tournament. You can see we've got a little ways to go to get to the fragments. Yeah, we've got 1,600, so about 650 more points to go. And on the free to play, we're kind of in a similar position. If we're some points behind on the free to play, but we should be fine. It's just the issue is, so I'm not using, just so that you know this. I mean you probably already have figured this out, but we have another Dungeon Divers event coming up, starting in 13 hours from the time I'm recording this. But so I'm not putting any extra energy in. I'm not buying any energy refills. I'm not using any reward energy or anything like that. I'm going to wait until that Dungeon Diver starts. The problem is, so I thought today would be kind of a chill day, knowing that was kind of the break in the fusion or the fragment summon that we're working on for Packmaster. And then I get up this morning and I look at everything, and we've got another Prism pool. And this one's really, really good too. There's nothing here that if you got on pretty much any account, especially if you're early game, that you'd be upset about. These are all really good champions. In fact, if you've got these champions, you're either, you've got Aelfried here, which I think most people would be not too excited about, except that he's one of the epics for the Lady Mikage fusion. And then you've got some really good epics here. A lot of these epics are worth empowering. If you've got these epics, if you're late game, and then any of these legendaries, they're just, most of them are just fantastic, and all of them are useful. I mean, that's a great pool. So because of that, I had to figure out what kind of, because we have this spider tournament going on that gives us these prism crystals for that summoning pool. And I wasn't, when I first saw it, I was like, well, I'm not going to do that. I'm not even sure I can do that on either of these accounts, just a team of all epics. Because, we're using a legendary, at least one legendary on both accounts in most teams. And then we've got our starter champion that's been pretty instrumental still for things. And so I just thought, well, I probably won't be able to do this. But then I saw the pool and I was like, well, maybe can we work that in? Let's work it in. So I'm working on it. But like I said, I'm only using the energy that I have in the game available to me at the time. I'm completely holding off using any extra energy until the Dungeon Diver starts, because then once the Dungeon Diver starts, we can finish the Fire Knight tournament, and we can hopefully finish this as well. I think we'll be able to do it. But so I'll show you the team. This is the team for. I'll just show you the free-to-play team that I came up with. So this is what I'm doing today, is just this, and then finishing the artifact enhancement. Like I said, that's just time. But I think we have time today because we're not using any extra energy, and the champ training, it takes so much time to do that. And so I was up until late last night, finishing champ training, but that was good. I think it was good to be able to get a legendary book for both the free-to-play and the budget account. So let's look at, so this is the free-to-play team I was able to put together. We got Tagore on last weekend, and then we have Seer, and she's very good for this. She's a good nuker. I did re-gear her over the weekend, and I was able to put some Savage gear on her because we've been farming some Fire Knight, and we got a little more Savage gear to use. It's not perfect. It's really not even good by any means, but it's there. And then Taragi gives us protection. Stag Knight with the decreased defense and decreased attack and decreased speed on the boss, and then we've got Padma for decreased attack also, and just for some more damage. So and she also does decreased accuracy, which may help with the spiderlings if we have enough resistance. And we're using our resistance aura with Taragi here. It's not like, okay, so this run it's not fast or anything like that, and we're only doing stage 10. Yeah, I almost made a mistake. Stage 10 is the most efficient one to do if you can't do 20, because that stage drops 5-star accessories at a higher rate than it should for the level, for the stage it is. We don't know why, it just does it, and so we accept it, and we're grateful for it. It's more efficient than doing any other stage but 20. Once you get to 20, that becomes the most efficient place to spend your energy on Spider. So if you can do 20, I totally encourage you to do 20. And I mean, and if you're trying to get better artifacts, and you can do hard mode, that's the best place to go, is 10 hard mode. And that's normally where I farm on my main account, but I can't do that with with the epics I have on my main account either. Anyway, I'll just show you how this run goes on stage 10. It's not, this isn't anything special, and it's not difficult. I just wasn't sure I'd be able to do it. I hadn't even thought about doing something like this, so I'll make myself smaller. Don't want to hide Seer. Seer's important here. Yeah, and Stag Knight here is weak affinity. If you're using a Stag Knight as your debuffer, but he's in lifesteal gear and he has War Master, so he's kind of an important part of the damage that we do to the boss here. Just because I have limited options. If I didn't have limited options, I wouldn't be using him. Oh wow, that was a big hit from Seer. Sorry, I was covering that up, but that was a big hit from Seer. We had some buffs on us, and Seer did a nice big hit. Yeah, but this run, you can see it's not fast. I mean, if you've got some nukers, the epic nukers on your team, you could probably mow this down in a few seconds. I'm not at that stage yet. So. But this works, and see, she healed the mother spider healed there again. So it's, like I said, it's not the most efficient run, but we have limited energy, and we've got the time today also. We're not worried too much about, getting it done fast. And it's been pretty efficient as far as the points go so far. On average, we're getting more than 1 point per energy, and that's kind of where you want to be. On 20, it's more consistent because you don't have the possibility on stage 20 of getting the mystery shards or the brews or anything like that, which you still have here on 10. So Yeah, see, I got a brew. So this was less efficient because we spent 24 energy. We got 16 points. But typically, we're going to get more points than that, and we got a 5-star amulet out of it, and that's a pretty decent amulet for the stage of the game we're at. And then I'm just going to show you real quick on the budget account, the team I was able to put together. It's very similar. We're early game, although I do have some options on the budget account that I don't have on the free to play. But that was just because of RNG. We've gotten some epics that have AoE HP burn. We've got Skrank, and he also hits hard in addition to having HP burn. And in this case, that doesn't hurt us on the spider. Later on, that may come to hurt us on the spider boss, but for right now, it's actually a good thing because we want to nuke the spiderlings down here. We're not using the burn strategy on this level of spider, where we're allowing the burns to do all the damage to the spider, and then you want to keep the spiderlings alive as long as possible so they keep taking turns, and that does all the damage. And so in those stages, that's what you want. But in this case, we want to nuke the spiderlings down because we're not able to keep the spider from taking turns as often. We don't have a lot of, but we do have some turn meter control in this team. I'll just run the first part of it and show you kind of what it looks like. Yeah, so we've got our Haikatoon in there, and she's weak affinity also here, and so hopefully she'll draw some of the attention of the spiderlings as we go. We do have some turn meter control. You can see that Skrank just nuked down all the spiderlings in the first wave. We have some turn meter control with both Fenchi and with Allure, and then we've got some provoke control with Taragi. So it's not this again isn't a fast run either, but it works. it's the epics that I have to work with, and that's what we've got going. And we're taking about the same amount of time on this one as we are on the free to play. So yeah, just throwing in the epics that I had, and it worked. So I think that's going to be really nice. And I wanted to go for at least one of the summons on this summon pool while we're doing the fusion. I don't want to risk not being able to do the fusion, in favor of doing this, because I think the fusion is going to be important for us. But I don't want to miss a chance to get one of those from that pool. I think they're all really good. I mean, I could go over, but they all have great kits. You go through and read their kits. They're all very useful, and there's nothing that I wouldn't be excited about getting, including Aelfrig. Aelfrig, is actually good. He's a good turn meter booster. It's just he kind of came along later in the game where everybody already has that covered. But because he's Mikage food, that makes him really useful. So you can see here we got 32 points for 24 energy, and that's usually kind of where you want to be. And we got 2 5-star rings out of it. And I know they're uncommon, but at this stage, hey, that beggars can't be choosers. That's a terrible. I mean, anyway, they're not great, but we make do with what we have. So I'm just going to show you on my main account here quickly the team that I put together for that. If you're later game, I thought maybe this would give you an idea if you were thinking, okay, which epics do I have that'll make it kind of a faster run. Now this is not fast. I'm not claiming that this is like the fastest that you can do or anything like that. My Royal Guards don't hit as hard as a lot of Royal Guards that I've seen. They kind of do the job for where I'm at. And my Whisper, even though she's 6-star, awakened and she's +2 and everything, I've seen Whispers that hit a lot harder also. She's in Relentless gear. She's not even in Savage. But for this type of fight, I think Ruella is the best debuffer because she has decreased defense, weaken, and decreased speed at the same time on the same skill. And then Archmage is there just for the buffs, for the increased crit damage. He also has some control where he hits the spider with his main attack on his A2, and then he spreads out stun on the spiderlings. So in case we don't nuke down the spider before any of the spiderlings take a turn, that gives us an element of control also. So I'll just show you how this one runs. It goes pretty quick. It's like 30 to 40 seconds usually. So we get the debuffs out, and then we get the buffs, and then the first Royal Guard, and then Whisper will get like 2 and then sometimes 3 hits in a row here, and then she gets extra turn because she's in Relentless gear, and then we get our last Royal Guard nuke, and then they just kind of clean up after that. I'd like to get it to a point where they nuke it down all within their first turn, their first rotation of turns. But I don't want to redo any builds, and I'm using some of these champions in other places right now, and so anyway, 34 seconds on that one, and I don't think that's too bad and this is just 20. I'm not doing anything crazy here. This is just 20. But yeah, 34 seconds. So hopefully that gives you, I don't know, maybe an idea if you're later game and you're thinking about what would be efficient. Maybe comparing this to what you've got, you might think of something that will work better. But, all right, so I hope that's helpful for somebody. But yeah, I really, I endorse going for these pool. I love that they do these Prism summons and these pool events like this, because there are so many good champions here. I'm just going to quickly go over a few of them. This Glycad, I haven't used a Glycad. He was in one of the other pools, I think, before. Or maybe it was a progressive chance. Not sure I remember, but he does increase attack in Perfect Veil and a turn meter fill, which, I think this gets compared to Duchess quite a bit. The difference here with Duchess is that she doesn't do the turn meter fill on her skill that does the increased attack in the Veil. And I like that. I think this is very useful. And then he also has increased accuracy and increased defense on his revive. So his A3 does increase accuracy and increase defense, and he doesn't have to use it as a revive ability, which that's a little bit different than Duchess also. She doesn't use her A3 unless she's reviving, and then it still puts the veil on everybody. But that's a nice skill too, and he has the speed in all battles by 19%, same as Duchess. And then in this case, so Duchess has damage mitigation on her passive, but this guy has damage increase when his allies are under Perfect Veil. So it's a little bit flip-flopped with Duchess, but kind of similar to what she does. And I think the utility is fairly similar there. I haven't seen him in arena a lot, but I think if you geared him as well as you gear a Duchess, I think he might be pretty useful there. Wither is one of the best healers in the game. She can be very difficult to go, especially if you're early game. She can be very difficult to go against in arena because she won't die, and she just keeps healing herself. And it can be quite a pain. Later game, usually your nukers can do enough damage to put her down. But she's one of the coolest looking champions. I just love how creepy this is with the two sets of arms. One set is in chains and the other set is free, and then the big knife through her chest. It's so weird, and I love it. It's awesome. Look at that. And then the blue fire and the torches floating around. It's just great. It's just a great design. Great artwork there. My compliments to whoever designed that. I think it's beautiful. And then White Queen Ancora is one of the best support champions for arena. Even if you don't have her tandem, the White King, she's really good also. Morrigan is important, especially now if you're doing Centranos. If you're doing Amius, her passive with the heal reduction, it's the best heal reduction in the game, and she puts it on every time she takes a turn. It's awesome. And Lady Kimmy is excellent also, and I actually use my Lady Kimmy for Amius too, but the reason I use my Lady Kimmy for Amius is because she has a 5-star blessing, and I use Brimstone, and that's how I do my damage on Amius. But as well, and just lots of speed. She does a buff removal, which then places block buffs. This is why she's not. I tried to use her in Hydra for a while, and I don't find that as useful, because you don't want the Hydra heads to have buffs on them, because she will only place this block buffs if she removes a buff from them. So it's not a reliable block buffs, especially if you don't want the Hydra heads to have buffs on them, because that gets out of control really fast. I haven't found a way to make that work. If you've found a way to make that work reliably, please let me know. That's something I've always wondered if I could make her work, because she's so good otherwise. But her aura, the speed aura that she has for Doom Tower, it's 30%. It's a great speed aura, and I do use her in Doom Tower because she has that. She does a lot of other, just really good things. The decreased speed also, and then And then she also has this skill where she puts the increased speed. So she does increase speed, she does decrease speed, and for that she is really good for Hydra. So if you're looking for that is really good. You just can't depend on her for the block buffs. That said, okay, so and then Kymar, best reset champion in the game, and he's all, you know, he also does an AoE sleep, which is really good. It can be really useful. And then the best speed for arena in the game. Well, it's not the best, but it's one of the best speed auras for arena. And Patrick here, I love Patty. I didn't go for the guaranteed on him, but I wish I could have. I wish I had more discipline with my shards sometimes, but I don't. So yeah, he's great also. Great for ally attack and increased speed, turn meter fill. Excellent for Fire Knight and a lot of other. I mean, any of the good ally attack champions are good almost everywhere. I have a Cardiel on my main account, use him almost everywhere. Lady Mikage, now I use her almost everywhere. It's just, yeah, they can be so good and so useful. So yeah, he's great. Duchess, you know, she's the queen. She's so good at live arena and arena in general, but she has fallen off a little bit, but I still use her. I still use her quite often, especially in tag arena where you've got 3 teams to fill. She still makes my roster on tag arena every time. And then, you know, in live arena, sometimes she's a pass for me because of the counters and everything like that. But yeah, Duchess is still great. She's still great and very worth having on any account. And then Theodore is excellent for dungeons. Not as good for hard, although I do use him in my hard dragon team along with a Stultus. And so yeah, Theodore is excellent also. There's nothing here you'd be disappointed with if you're early game especially, but I think anybody, like I'm excited about this on my main account as well, and I have a lot of these champions already. It would just be nice to have either another one or for faction guardians or to +1, you know, one of the epics or whatever. So yeah, I heartily endorse going for the Prism if you have the energy. If you're going for the fusion and it's going to put you in danger of missing it because of missing an event or something like that, then maybe not. But if you wait on the spider to really put a lot of energy into the spider until the dungeon divers start, it's still going to help you with the dungeon divers. I think it's a good one to go for. That's my 2 cents for that one. So I'll just show you where we are on the fragment summon for the Shy Guy. So we're at 40 right now, and I think what's available is 50. So once we have Fire Knight and the artifact enhancement completed for getting his fragments, we'll have the 50 for him. Then we'll have 5 more for the dungeon divers that's starting tomorrow. And I'll definitely go for that dungeon divers with the hopes that I'll be able to skip the dungeon divers that's at the end. Also, don't summon the prisms. I almost forgot to say it. Don't summon your prisms until at least Friday when the champion chase starts, because you do get champion chase points for anything you pull from these prisms. I do believe, I think they said that there's also prisms coming for the dungeon divers event. I think that was on the calendar. I'm not sure. Correct me if I'm wrong about that too, but I think that's right. Also, we've got some summoning events, some progressive chance events coming up over the next couple of days. I always skip these. If you're at your mercy, if you know that you're at mercy on some of your shards and you want to go for a chance at some of those champions, I think it's a good idea to do it. I just don't like doing that. I don't like doing those because there's usually not another event where we benefit from pulling the shards. I like to do champion chase and summon rushes just because they give you other rewards besides just getting the chance at some of those champions, and it's not a very good chance even if you're at mercy and you pull a legendary. So I would say, unless you're really late game, I would say always, this is just my view of it, but I would say always skip those if you're early game, just because we need so many things and there's just no guarantees, I don't like to gamble with that unless we're getting something else out of it. That's just my opinion. But if you're late game, I think it makes sense to go for them if you know you're at your mercy. But if you know you're at your mercy, you know the champions and you would know that. So that's why I don't usually talk about those. I don't know if anybody's noticed, but I never even discuss it. So this is the first time I'm even mentioning those midweek progressive chances, and I don't think they're worth going for. I don't think they're worth the risk of especially missing a fusion or something like that. I don't think it's worth it. And there've been times I've been tempted too. So because you see these really good champions on those pools and you're like, oh, I gotta try at least, but I don't think it's worth the risk. So yeah, hold on to your prisms until Friday so that you can get the points for whoever you pull. And so you're going to get at least 250 points from one of the epics if that's all you get. But yeah, we're going to need those points because we have to get at least 5 of the fragments for the Packmaster. Yeah, and so you can see here on the budget, I'm in the exact same position that I am on the free-to-play. It took some doing. I had a lot more champion training points just off the bat because I pulled so many ancient shards on the free-to-play. So I didn't have all the benefits of putting brews into all those rares that I pulled and epics that I pulled on the free-to-play here on the budget account. Oh, I almost forgot. I pulled a couple of ancient shards. Last night I was close on the summon rush to getting the fragment, the 10 fragments. I was going to finish it off with mysteries, and that's what I said the other day. But I acquired some ancients just by doing dungeon runs and just the way you'd normally get ancients in the game. Didn't buy any, even on the budget account. I didn't buy any, and I obviously the free to play. But I did pull a few. I did. I'm going to show you what I pulled here because it was kind of interesting. I did record it. I did record it. So, okay, so this was on the budget account. I'm just going to play it here. It's on my media player. I had 6 ancient shards on the budget account. I went ahead and decided to just pull all 6, and that got me to the point where I got the Packmaster fragments. But the first one was an epic. It was a Tanix Hate Flower. Tanix is one that we get for free. She's a daily login at the end of a month. She's one of those. And I actually like her, and I was trying to make her useful, and I couldn't find a way to make her make sense in any of my teams. Got a Runic Warder. He's an okay for a rare, but not something you'd probably want to build usually. Diabolist, obviously a farmable rare, but she's in, we get her all the time if we're farming 12-3. And then a Tribuck Colwyn. I haven't built that rare at all, but she's kind of a new one because she's in Sylvan Watchers. And then we got another epic, and it was an Ultimate Gallic. And so that's a good one. If you don't have AoE HP burn yet, he actually hits pretty hard, and he has some turn meter stuff that you can do with him. So he's somewhat useful. I kind of like him. He is hard to keep alive though. And then a Stout Axeman. I like dwarves and they love me. So we keep getting some more good dwarves, some more rare dwarves. Okay, so then I went over, and I think I'm going over to the free-to-play here. Okay, well, on the free-to-play here, and this was last night, late at night. I didn't feel like recording video, but I thought, well, in case I get anything interesting, I probably ought to just record it, just show you what I got. Twin Claw Disciple. He's a food champion. I have used him in Faction Wars just a little bit, just at the early stages. And Risk Arm. Risk Arm is good because he's one of the rares that's used for the Lady Mikage fusion as well. And he's kind of a decent rare for Bannerlords, but not something that you'd probably want to build. And then I left myself enough room to even talk. That was nice of me, wasn't it? And then we got another Flinger. That's what he does. And last one, I'm waiting. I don't know why the lag. The lag seems superfluous at this point. I don't know. There we go. No more lag. And it's an epic. And we got an Ambassador Lethalin. Ambassador Lethalin is one of the first champions that we had with Taunt. He's a high elf epic, and so I was able to use him in Faction Wars today, which was good because we've been pretty short on high elves on both accounts. It's been kind of funny, but on the free to play, I was able to use him along with. I'm just going through and showing, or he decreases the duration debuffs on allies, and then he heals all allies by 5% of their max HP, and then 2.5% for each debuff that was reduced in duration. That was my little mini shard opening sesh, and it was pretty good. You know, getting epics on both accounts out of just a few ancient shards. Didn't, you know, the fact that we got epics didn't help us on our points or anything. On the budget account with the Ultimate Gallic, he'll be helpful. And, I still use him in the Faction Wars because that boss, you want to be able to control his turn meter a little bit, and he's one of the ones I use for that. Plus, he, you know, with the HP burn, he's also good in some areas of Cintranos. I've been able to make him work, and I put him in a stun set because that's what you have to do in Cintranos. You've got to use stun sets. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. It would be nice if we had something else that was more effective than just hoping for stuns in Cintranos. But so that's all I had for today. I hope you're well. I hope everything's going well in your life and in your fusion if you're doing it. And if not, yeah, go for that little spider tournament. If you can put some epics together. I mean, I'm only 68 days in, so I think if I can do that with the epics that I have available to me, you should probably be able to do it. Unless you're earlier game, or you know, if you don't have experience in the game, I could totally understand that. So, but yeah, if you can get to level 10 on Spider and be able to farm that efficiently, I think that's a good way to go. And if you're later game, yeah, definitely, I think it's a no-brainer to go for this one. So that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching. I've been Wood, and I appreciate you.